Deep in the heart of the African wilderness, a distress call came through to the Search and Rescue SAR command center. Local villagers had spotted a lion, weak, injured, and trapped in a cruel snare near a dry riverbed. The animal's desperate roars echoed across the savannah, sending chills through anyone who heard them. It was not just another rescue, it was a race against time to save one of nature's most powerful yet vulnerable creatures. Without immediate help, the lion would not survive the night. The SAR team, trained for high-risk wildlife missions, wasted no time. They loaded tranquilizer guns, medical kits, ropes, and cages onto their rugged 4x4 vehicles. Every second counted as they navigated through rough terrain, thorny bushes, and uneven paths that could flip a truck at any moment. The sun blazed mercilessly over the land, but the rescuers pressed on, driven by duty and compassion. For them, every animal mattered, from the smallest bird to the king of the jungle himself. When they finally arrived at the location, they found the lion lying on its side near a dried-up stream. Its once majestic mane was tangled with dust and blood, and one of its powerful front legs was caught tightly in a steel trap. The pain had made the animal thrash violently, leaving deep marks in the earth around it. Its golden eyes still burned with fear and rage, but underneath that was exhaustion, the kind that comes when the fight for survival is nearly lost. The team could see the suffering written in every breath the lion took. The rescuers knew that approaching the lion was extremely dangerous. Even in pain, a cornered predator could kill in an instant. They quickly formed a perimeter, setting up tranquilizer equipment and monitoring the lion's behavior from a safe distance. The team leader, a veteran named Marcus, signaled the veterinarian to prepare a dart with the right dosage of sedative. It had to be precise. Too much could stop the lion's heart, too little would leave it aggressive and uncontrollable. Everyone held their breath as Marcus took aim through his tranquilizer rifle's scope. The dart flew silently through the air and struck the lion's shoulder. The animal roared one last time, shaking the ground with its defiance, before finally collapsing into a deep, drug-induced sleep. The rescuers sprinted toward it, carrying medical tools and bolt cutters. They worked quickly but carefully, checking the lion's breathing and pulse while one member covered its eyes to reduce stress. The steel trap, old and rusted, was clamped tightly around the lion's leg, cutting into the flesh and nearly reaching the bone. Removing it required patience and precision. Sweat poured down the rescuers' faces as they struggled with the trap's stubborn mechanism. The metal refused to open easily, forcing them to use every ounce of strength. Finally, after several tense minutes, the jaws of the trap loosened and fell away. The rescuers sighed in relief, their gloved hands shaking from the effort. The lion's paw was severely injured, bleeding and swollen, but it was finally free. The vet immediately began cleaning the wound, injecting antibiotics and painkillers. Time felt suspended in that moment, a silent understanding that they had saved a life. With the lion sedated, the team prepared to transport it back to a wildlife rehabilitation center. They gently lifted its massive body onto a stretcher and secured it in the rescue vehicle. As they drove through the wilderness, the landscape seemed calmer, as if the savannah itself was watching and approving of what they had done. Inside the vehicle, the vet continued to monitor the lion's vital signs, whispering softly as if the animal could hear her through its dreams. It was an emotional sight, humans risking their safety for a creature that once might have seen them as prey. At the rehabilitation center, the lion was moved into a special enclosure designed for large predators. There, the veterinarians began intensive treatment, cleaning the wounds, stitching torn flesh, and ensuring infection wouldn't set in. Over the next few days, the lion's strength began to return. Its eyes, once filled with pain, now reflected calm and curiosity. It would take weeks before it could walk normally again, but the will to survive was strong. Each time the team visited, the lion's gaze followed them, as if it recognized that these were the people who had given it a second chance at life. The rescue touched the hearts of everyone involved. Some team members couldn't hold back tears when they saw the lion stand for the first time after the injury. It was a quiet moment of victory, one that reminded them why their work mattered. Saving an animal might not change the world, but for that one creature, it meant everything. The SAR team had seen too many cases where poaching traps, illegal hunting, and human encroachment had destroyed wildlife populations. This rescue symbolized hope in a time when so many species are fighting for survival. Weeks later, when the lion was fully healed, the team prepared for its release. The same 4x4 vehicles rolled through the dirt roads, carrying the lion back to the wild where it belonged. Upon arrival, the cage door was opened slowly. For a brief moment, the lion stayed still, sniffing the air and staring at the open horizon. Then, with a deep growl that echoed through the valley, it stepped out and ran toward the golden grasslands, free once more. The rescuers watched silently, smiling through tears. The feeling of watching a wild animal return home was beyond words, it was pure, humbling magic. As the lion disappeared into the distance, Marcus turned to his team. They were exhausted, dirty, and sunburned, but their faces glowed with satisfaction. "That's why we do this," he said quietly. No one needed to reply. They understood. Their mission was not just about saving animals, it was about restoring balance, about making sure the wild remains wild. Each rescue reminded them that humanity still has the power to protect, not just destroy. News of the emotional rescue spread across social media, drawing millions of views. People from around the world praised the SAR team's bravery and compassion. Wildlife organizations used the story to raise awareness about the dangers of illegal traps and the urgent need for stronger conservation laws. The video of the rescue, showing the moment the trap was removed and the lion took its first steps to freedom, brought countless viewers to tears. It wasn't just a viral clip, it was a powerful reminder that empathy transcends species. In the following months, the team continued their work, rescuing elephants, cheetahs, and leopards from similar fates. Yet none of those missions carried quite the same emotional weight as the trapped lion. That rescue had left an imprint on everyone's hearts, a symbol of resilience, trust, and the fragile bond between humans and nature. Sometimes, the greatest acts of heroism don't involve fighting wars or conquering peaks. They happen quietly in the wilderness, where a group of people decide that one life, no matter how wild, is worth saving. Long after the mission ended, the rescuers often thought about that lion. They imagined it roaming freely, hunting again under the blazing sun, perhaps even leading its own pride someday. And though they would never see it again, they found peace in knowing that somewhere out there, their rescued lion roamed the wild plains, a living testament to compassion, courage, and hope. Dash dash dash.